America. Land of the free, home of the brave, inventor of Chinese food. Canada. What you get if America and Britain had a baby they abandoned in the snow. Canada. The country you think about so little, that's it, end of sentence. Canada. It's basically 5 hockey rinks surrounded by bears. Canada, the country with a thriving economy based on making jean jackets for geese and of course, their booming Sexy Ryan manufacturing industry. Mexico, or as you may know it, Spicy Canada. Mexico, the only place you can get a truly authentic volcano quesarito. Guatemala, a country you think about so little, we're just going to leave up a map of Central America and make you look up which one it is. Crack a book. I'm not here to spoon-feed you what's Guatemala. Cuba, Florida's teardrop tattoo. Cuba, home to the world's least fun Castro district. Cuba, or as JFK used to pronounce it, Booty Island. Panama, a country you think about so little, you don't realise that's not Panama, that's the outline of a Scotty dog. This is Panama. Venezuela, a.k.a. North-South America. Venezuela, a country you think about so little, you didn't even realise that's not Venezuela. This is Venezuela. Actually, that's not Venezuela either. This is Venezuela. Except it isn't, because Venezuela was the first one all along. But the fact you didn't notice is the point. Life isn't just a fairy tale land of alpacas and pan flutes, Peru. At some point, you've got to pull your weight. And don't give me the whole, oh, but John, our population is the size of Texas and the war on terror is a hopeless geopolitical paradox. That's bullshit, Peru! Bolivia. A country you think about so little, you haven't even realised that's not Bolivia. This is Bolivia. Actually, that's still not Bolivia. This is Bolivia. Or is it? Or is it? This game is never not going to be fun. Defaulting is an Argentine tradition every bit as grand as the tango and hiding Nazis. But both of which they are flamboyantly good at. Brazil. Brazilians are excited about everything. Brazil, where even the Amazon rainforest looks like it's gotten a wax. Brazil, the country with the second most valuable Amazon on Earth. Uruguay, a country that you think about so little that you didn't even notice that that's not Uruguay. This is Uruguay. Europe. You know, that thing Belgium is in. Norway, the left testicle in the frigid sea penis of Scandinavia. Oh, for fuck's sake, Norway, how can you pull out? The only reason we have Winter Olympics is so you freakish snow people can pick up your stupid cross-country skiing medals. Finland is on all the good lists, like, countries with the best pastries, or best countries to host your overseas lesbian wedding. Estonia, a country where, from the looks of it, they still worry about Shrek attacks. Denmark, also known as Wrong Norway, different Sweden, and that's actually not Finland. Denmark, what would happen if a suicide note was a country? Germany. A country whose idea of a bedtime story is 2 children being left to die in the forest before being nearly cooked and eaten and then murdering an old woman. Sleep well. Germany, where the national motto is, let's stick to the present, shall we? Belgium, though Belgium does have one thing in common with Budweiser. Historically speaking, Germans refuse to acknowledge that it's even there. Belgium, the casual acquaintance France crops out of its Instagram photos. Switzerland, where the national dance is collapsing from altitude sickness. Luxembourg, what happens when you leave Liechtenstein out in the sun too long? Did you know that if you Google interesting Luxembourg facts, the result is just a page that says no? Ireland, a country with a slightly higher Irish population than the Dropkick Murphys. Ireland, Europe's Boston, home of more red hair than Deborah Messing's shower drain. Scotland. Americans know it as the birthplace of Shrek and that accent you think you can do but actually can't. United Kingdom, where I am fondly known as who? UK, Earth's least magic kingdom. UK, the only 2 letters that promise more iciness and bad food than these 2. United Kingdom, Europe's America. United Kingdom, the slightly damp corpse of the British Empire. United Kingdom, America's deadbeat dad. United Kingdom, America's before photo. UK, where 2,000 years of civilization led to this face. UK, the country that gave the world the Beatles and then punished it with Coldplay. United Kingdom, birthplace of the Beatles and yet very much the world's Ringo. United Kingdom, a place whose very name after this week's events is beginning to sound a bit sarcastic. Hungary. Yes, Hungary. The fantasy home for every little girl who's young enough to love castles, but not quite old enough to be aware of neo-fascist political parties. Ukraine. A nation that, like the human appendix and your grandma Mimi, you only really hear about if something's gone horribly wrong. Ukraine, currently Russia's fastest growing import. Ukraine, or as Vladimir Putin might call it, Phase 1. Russia, where despite appearances of the contrary, the cathedrals are not edible. Russia, the real Borscht Belt. Russia, a country that will continue to be funny until it suddenly isn't. Russia, the prequel and sequel to the Soviet Union. Russia, the future home of 45 million Ukrainians. Russia, Earth's Death Star. Azerbaijan, a country you think about so little you didn't even realise that not only is that not Azerbaijan, it's not even a landmass, it's the Caspian Sea. This is Azerbaijan. I don't know when I'm going to get tired of this game, but it's definitely not now. Greece. A country of and in ruins. Greece, the most recent Greek tragedy. Greece, the home of geniuses like Socrates, Aristotle, and this guy in Mykonos with an elephant trunk thong on his dick. It's a vibrant country. Turkey, the country named after the fourth best sandwich and the third best burger. Turkey, the country that's always much bigger than you think it is. Turkey, a country, a bird, and the meanest thing you could call someone in 1956. Turkey, a.k.a. Diet Syria. Syria. Until 2011, a pretty nice name for a baby girl. Syria, to be honest, it's barely been reported on, but let's assume it's still fucking awful. Israel. Drama-wise, the opposite of Canada. Egypt, or as ISIS calls it, next. Nigeria, the country whose prince is going to be sending you some of that money he owes any day now. Djibouti is a country with a rich cultural history and a multi-ethnic population of over 850,000 people, but you are right, it does also sound like a butt. Yemen, home to 26 million Yemeni people and 27 million American drones. Saudi Arabia, the Mecca of Meccas. Qatar, where temperatures can reach 120 degrees. The only place less appropriate to host a World Cup would be the actual surface of the sun. Although, to be fair, the sun does have a much better human rights record than Qatar does. Iran, not just the setting for 2013 Best Picture winner Argo, also a country. Iran, the greatest threat to Salman Rushdie since Padma Lakshmi's divorce attorney. Afghanistan, it's just the tip of international conflicts. We jumped in too fast, went in further than we originally intended, and now we're pulling out way more slowly than we said we would. India, and honestly, the last time a British person said that, we didn't leave for about 200 years. India, or as we once called it, Britain's spice rack. China, manufacturers of everything except that piece of crap clay jar you got for Mother's Day. You're never going to use it. China, a 3.7 million square mile panda fuck pad. China in microcosm right there. A gigantic machine looming over its subjects, forcing them to be more coordinated than anyone thought was physically possible. North Korea, Earth's Florida. North Korea, named Best Korea for 70 years running by North Korea magazine. North Korea. Alphabetically speaking, the world's foremost Korea. Japan, a nation so vibrant, not even Sofia Coppola and the band Air could make it boring. Japan, Earth's pervert uncle. Philippines, the world's Rorschach test. I see an upside-down feather and my father's disappointment. Brunei falls under the Saudi Arabia rule. If you're a tiny, wealthy, strategically located country with oily business underneath you, the whole world is your friend. Papua New Guinea. That's as unlikely a pairing as Sofia Vergara and Reese Witherspoon. Australia. Not just the country where Russell Crowe lives, but very much the Russell Crowe of countries. New Zealand. The country that, like a bad edible arrangement, is full of fucking Kiwis. New Zealand. Now, you may know it as the homeland of Lord, or that place where people who are happier than you go on vacation. New Zealand, the country whose major form of transportation is bungee jumping. New Zealand this week. Hobbit, Australia. New Zealand, Australia's chia pet. New Zealand, Australia's Australia.